The truth has been revealed behind Josh Hart's injury, and this has Knicks fans very concerned as the Knicks are being forced into a very difficult decision with Mike Brown's team going forwards as they've underperformed thus far. We have more on that and also an update on Knicks superstar Jalen Brunson as well. There's a lot to go over on the Knicks right now, guys, and we're going to waste no time jumping right into things as always. But real quick, if you are a part of that 55% that's not subscribed to Knicks Digest, this is the place to be so you don't miss a single New York Knicks update. We have videos every day, multiple days, or multiple videos per day quite often, so you don't want to miss out. If there's any news on the New York Knicks, this is going to be the place to get it because we cover everything. But with that being said, there is a lot to go over, specifically with Knicks star Josh Hart. Hart has been a Swiss Army knife player over the seasons that he's been with the Knicks, starting obviously halfway through the 2022-23 season, being traded to the Knicks around February, January of that year, and of course, since then has stuck around with the Knicks, signed contract extensions, and has been most notable as a New York Knicks. It's the only place he's ever played playoff basketball, and he has been a staple for them. He's had his ups and downs, especially when it comes to shooting, but for the most part, he's been that Swiss Army knife guy. Fans absolutely love Josh Hart, and he'll forever be a guy who will be remembered by Knicks fans very, very fondly. Well, Josh has been dealing with a hand injury, something we've known about, and with all that, there is a lot of concern. Now, Hart's injury, as it was mentioned by James Edwards, his discomfort extends beyond just his finger. The Knicks wing, who has played this season with a splint on his right ring finger, has a nerve injury in his hand. He told The Athletic that before Sunday's matchup against the Chicago Bulls, a game where Josh Hart played quite well. The affliction affects the fourth finger on his shooting hand the most, but feeling is also going in and out of his middle and pinky fingers, not just on the court, but also in daily life tasks, which is very worrisome, especially considering before that Bulls game, which was Hart's best game of the season, Josh Hart was averaging 3 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists per game, shooting 21% from the field and only 10% from 3. He was not playing the same way at all. There was a lot of concern on should Josh just go out there, should he go get the surgery because of this. And Josh Hart, he broke it down, saying, for me, there probably will be a process until I get full feeling back, and that hand will be what it is. And shooting, I'm working with Peter Patton all the time, and that will come along. So yeah, I'm not getting the surgery, and that's who Josh Hart is. Now fans are upset about it, but this is the guy who we know. This is the Josh Hart who's not going to back down from anything, who's always going to want to be out there and playing with his team, no matter when it is. That is who we love to see on this Knicks team, and with Josh, it's so important to see him continue to be that guy. Now fans, they've said one thing or another for Josh Hart, about Josh Hart, for a little bit now, wondering, oh, what happened to the guy in the playoffs who, over the last 2 playoff runs, shot 37% from 3, putting up 13 points, 10 rebounds, and 4.5 assists, especially in that run in 2024 when he averaged 14.5 points, 11.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, hitting 44% and 37% from the field and from 3. Look, what happened to that guy? Why is Josh unable to shoot the ball now? Whose fault is it? Fans want to blame someone, and the truth is it's just an injury that's causing him to be discomfort or feel discomfort right now. And here's the thing. You do adjust. You do figure out how to shoot with an injury. Players have done this for years. He's not the only person dealing with a hand injury. That being said, there's also the there's the thing we have to be aware of with Josh Hart here. He should get the surgery most likely. Because when we look at everything regarding his hand, there is stuff to be worried about. I mean, Edwards said Hart suffered the initial injury in May and then underwent surgery to fix it after the Knicks' 24-25 season ended in the Eastern Conference Finals. By the end of the summer, he was back on the court, but not long before the start of training camp, he re-injured it. During a scrimmage at the team's practice facility and with Hart on defense, Mikal Bridges drove to the hoop, Hart reached for the ball, and felt an ache. It turned out he would require another surgery. Hart said the operation would keep him out for 3 months, so instead of getting the surgery done immediately, the 30-year-old has opted to play through the injury. Doctors told him that he could delay the procedure until after the season without incurring much long-term risk. The risk for Josh Hart is not about his risk with his finger injury. It's about the risk that he's going to play poorly. Look, Josh Hart just had his best game this season where he shot 1 for 4 from 3, and that was a step in the right direction. That's not what you want to see at all, especially when you're 6'4". Now, in fairness, Josh Hart has never been an elite shooter. People ask, what about the guy who scored so well on the Portland Trailblazers? The guy who scored well for 13 games, put up 20 points per game. That wasn't a full season. It was 13 games, and he was great. I'm not trying to take that away from Josh. I love Josh Hart. Wow, voice crack. I love Josh Hart. But after that, He went back to the Josh Hart that we know and love, a guy putting up 9.5 points, 8 rebounds per game, 4 assists, playing good defense, and also just continuing to be that dog who the one real weakness in his game is that three-point shot is not consistent. That is the Josh Hart that we know. That is fine. We don't need Josh Hart to be a completely different person. We need him to be able to do what he does well. Can he do that with the finger injury? Hart seems to think he can. That's the question, because the Knicks, you're on borrowed time right now, because if you're Josh Hart, you could do the surgery now, come back in January, miss a whole slew of time, and have to reintegrate yourself into an offense where Josh Hart has openly said he doesn't feel comfortable right now, saying, I feel like I've got the biggest adjustment out of the whole team, just in terms of role, starting, not starting, how the minutes are going to be, and I've got to know every position. There's going to be times where I'm bringing up the ball. There's going to be times when I'm the 5, and there's going to be times where I'm the 4. So I literally have to know every play from every different position, and it's one thing to know it in practice and go through it, but when it's game pace, that's the real test to it. So I'm still figuring that stuff out, and it's an adjustment, but this is my 7th coach, so I've had a lot of adjusting to do in my career, so it should be solid. That's how Josh Hart broke everything down, and he's also been clear saying, I'm cool with not starting. That's what I want to do for the season. For me, there's a different way to approach it mentally. Obviously, when you have guys who are questionable and in a game-time decision, then my role might be different, and I might not know what my role is until there's an hour on the clock or 35 minutes on the clock. So it's one of those things. If I'm not going to start, I'm totally cool with it. I don't want to be like the next starter up, because then everything is varying by game. I want to be more of a consistent role so that I can affect that role, and that's not unreasonable. It's not unreasonable to ask Josh Hart to do that. That's the big thing here. He's allowed to feel this way. He's allowed to do this. I prefer Josh Hart off the bench for this team anyway. I think it works better. I think that lineup works, and Josh Hart is a great leader to have off the bench, especially because of how vocal he is for this Knicks team and how he is one of the longer tenured players on this Knicks team. I like Josh Hart off the bench. I think it makes a lot of sense for this team. The question is, if Josh goes down with injury time, how long do we wait before we're like, okay, while you're out, just get the finger surgery? Or does he struggle to the point where, like, go get the finger surgery and be healthy by the playoffs? That's when we need you fully healthy more than ever. It's November 2nd. We don't need you fully healthy today. We need you fully healthy on May 2nd. That's when we want to focus on your health. That is 6 months away. You have time to get the surgery, come back, and know what your role is going to be. In fact, your role might be more hammered out because Mike Brown is going to have a better feel on what he wants to do with this team. Something he's fairly open that he's still experimenting with right now. It's not like you're going to fall out of the rotation. You're Josh friggin' Hart. That's something that's never going to happen, and that's because how good you are at this sport. It's just the way of everything that we have to look at here with Josh Hart, with this team. What exactly makes the most sense for this team? And one of the questions has been, where does Gershon Yabusele fit into this? Who's struggled mightily, and also if Josh is to get that finger surgery, all of a sudden Yabu's role is going to increase as he's going to have to get more minutes being one of the forwards on this team. He would play more at the 4 then, which is probably good for him as Yabu has seriously struggled up to this point, logging a total of 5 minutes in the last 2 games. And on the season, his numbers have not been good, averaging 3 rebounds per game, 1.6 points, and 0.2 assists in that span, shooting only 22.2% from 3-point range. His true shooting is a 30.8. The numbers just are not good. Now, Mike Brown also did just speak about this to the media, saying that, and that this is a big thing here that we have to look at just regarding the future of Yabusele and his role. With Mike Brown saying on Yabu playing 5 minutes in the total last 2 games, it's me. I could probably play 10, but it's going to be more of 9.5. Somebody's going to have the 0.5. Give us whatever he can give us. Nothing he did was wrong or why this happened. My call was that Gersh has played really well, and he's got to keep himself ready. Look, here's the thing. He hasn't. He hasn't played well, in fact. That's not correct. And he should be the 0.5 based off the fact that he hasn't played well right now. I just don't want the Knicks to give up on him. That's the thing. Mike Brown's going to run 9.5 guys. Sometimes it's going to be 9, sometimes it's going to be 10. It depends on the game. And I want to see Gershon Yabusele get more minutes and the whole Knicks bench get a ton of minutes so the starters can be well rested and all that. But at the same time, I do understand Mike Brown trying to get the rotations that we know he's going to be using in the playoffs. Like rotations that feature Jalen Brunson, OG, Mikal, and Cat. So whether that's Deuce, whether that's Mitch, whether that's Josh, whether that's Jordan Clarkson sometimes, no matter who it's going to be, the Knicks, they want to make sure they use all these and exhaust everything. Whether it's Landry Shamet, who stepped in as a starter with those exact 4 players before, Mike Brown's trying to see what works and what doesn't work so what he could build on throughout the season. Everything the Knicks are doing right now, and this goes from the top to Mike Brown to Jalen Brunson right here, it goes to all of them. But with Mike Brown, he's doing what the front office wants, which is waiting and treading some water to a degree while trying to figure out what works for the playoffs when things really matter. Now, we also have an update on Jalen Brunson as well to go over, and more of just something to discuss about Jalen Brunson on a general basis. He did just score his 9,000th point in his NBA career. And on top of that, the man, nobody's talking about this, has been on an absolute warpath to start this season. 31 points, 37 points, 36 points, 29 points, 31 points. The man is on absolute fire, averaging over 30 points per game right now in this NBA season. He is solidifying himself as the best point guard in the Eastern Conference. You thought I was going to say NBA, didn't you? Nope, in the Eastern Conference. I'm aware of what Luka Doncic is out there doing. Obviously, Shea is great as well, and Jalen Brunson is the 3rd best point guard in the NBA, so I talked about the 2 ahead of him. Look, guys, there's a lot to go over on the Knicks right now. We're going to have another video coming out in the AM as well. If you are wondering where I am and why I'm not in the usual spot that I'm usually in with the green screen and everything, I am on the road right now. I'm off in Newfoundland for a little bit. That's up in Canada, all the way in the middle of the water, and it's actually midnight here, so I'm pretty tired. I am going to go watch a movie or just binge watch some TV or something. Give me a TV show suggestion down below or a movie suggestion to watch. Comment if you've made it this far with that suggestion. Also, let me know what you think about the Knicks 6 games in. 3-3 right now against the Chicago, going 1-1 against the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls are really good. Heading the Bulls, their first loss of the season, felt good. Let me know all your guys' thoughts on that. And also, seriously, give me a movie or TV show suggestion. I'm going to be bored as hell. It's 12 here, but it's 10:30 in New York. I'm not falling for this Newfoundland jet lag, baby. Not happening here. We're New York forever. Guys, have a great day. Go Knicks. Subscribe to the channel, man. What are you doing? It's daily Knicks news.